What if everything you've ever been taught about where we come from is a complete fabrication? What if the human race wasn't born from some slow march of evolution, but engineered in a cosmic lab by beings from another world, ancient astronauts who played God with our DNA, turning primitive apes into thinking, building, warring machines? And here's the kicker. What if those same beings are still pulling the strings today, hidden in the shadows of power, watching us like lab rats in a grand experiment? Picture this. You're standing in the dim glow of a museum vault, your hand inches from a cracked clay tablet etched with wedge-shaped marks that look like nothing more than ancient scribbles. But those scribbles? They might hold the blueprint of your existence, a story so wild it could shatter everything you think you know about being human. Let's dive right into the heart of it. These tablets come from the cradle of civilization itself, the sun-baked lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in what we now call Iraq. Back around 4,500 years ago, the Sumerians weren't just scratching out shopping lists or tax records, they were chronicling encounters with gods who descended from the stars. Or at least, that's what one man's radical interpretation claims. His name was Zecharia Sitchin, a guy who wasn't your typical dusty academic. Born in 1920, he grew up speaking multiple languages, including those ancient tongues like Sumerian and Akkadian. By the 1970s, he was dropping bombshells in books like The 12th Planet, arguing that these so-called gods, the Anunnaki, weren't mythical figures dreamed up around campfires. No, they were flesh and blood extraterrestrials from a rogue planet called Nibiru, zipping through our solar system on a massive elliptical orbit that brings it close every 3,600 years. Sitchin pored over thousands of these cuneiform tablets, those wedge-written clay slabs dug up from ruins like Nineveh and and he saw something the experts missed, or ignored, depending on who you ask. He translated the word Anunnaki, not as some vague princely offspring like the scholars do, but as those who from heaven to earth came. Boom. Suddenly, the Sumerian epics aren't poetry or parables, they're mission logs from alien colonists. These beings, facing a crisis on their home world, Nibiru's atmosphere was thinning out, leaking away into space needed gold. Not for jewelry or crowns, but to grind into nanoparticles and spray into their sky like a planetary band-aid, reflecting harmful radiation and trapping heat. Their own minds were tapped out, so their astronomers scanned the stars and zeroed in on Earth, rich with veins of the stuff buried in our soil and seas. Imagine the scene. 450,000 years ago, a fleet of massive ships streaks through the void, propelled by tech we can only dream of anti-gravity drives. Maybe, or something harnessing dark energy. They touch down in the Persian Gulf, splashing into shallow waters near what would become the city of Eridu. Leading the charge are Anu's sons, Enlil, the no-nonsense commander with a temper like a storm cloud, and Enki, the clever scientist, the one with the blueprints for life itself. They're not here to conquer in the flashy, laser-blasting way Hollywood loves. This is a mining operation, pure and simple, born from desperation. But things get complicated fast. The lower ranks, the Igigi, bust their backs in the African mines, places like modern-day Zimbabwe, where ancient shafts plunge deep into the earth, defying explanation with their age and scale. After tens of thousands of years of grueling labor, they rebel, torching tools and marching on the bosses. That's when Enki steps up with his wild idea. Why not engineer a workforce? Take the local primitives Homo erectus, wandering the savannas with stone tools, and splice in some Anunnaki DNA. Make hybrids smart enough to swing a pickaxe but obedient enough not to question orders. Sitchin points to the Epic of Atrahasis, a Sumerian poem that talks of gods mixing clay with divine blood to create man. But in his read, that's code for genetic engineering. Enki and his sister Ninhursag in a lab, fusing chromosomes, implanting embryos in surrogate wombs. The first success? Adamu, the prototype human, whose name echoes Adam from the Bible. Coincidence? Sitchin says no, it's the same story, filtered through millennia of retellings. But here's where it gets really shocking. What if this wasn't just ancient history? What if the Anunnaki's fingerprints are still on us? Think about it. Our DNA has vast stretches called junk that don't code for proteins, but maybe they're switches, dormant code from our creators. And chromosome 2 scientists say it's a fusion of 2 ape chromosomes, explaining why we have 23 pairs while chimps have 24. But what if that's the weld mark, the spot where Enki's team stitched in their upgrades? Even Nobel winner Francis Crick toyed with directed panspermia, the idea that life on Earth was seeded by aliens. Sitchin's take pushes it further. We're not evolved. We're engineered slaves, bred for gold mines, then set loose when the job was done. Now, skeptics, and there are plenty, call this bunk. Assyriologists like Michael Heiser rip Sitchin's translations apart, saying he mangled Sumerian grammar. Anunnaki, they insist, just means offspring of Anu, the sky god. Nothing about spaceships. The tablets are myths, allegories for natural forces, not alien diaries. But Sitchin's ideas caught fire, selling millions of books, inspiring shows like Ancient Aliens. Why? Because they explain the unexplainable. How did Sumerians jump from hunter-gatherers to building ziggurats, inventing writing, math, the wheel, all in a blink? Alien tech transfer, Sitchin says. And those cylinder seals showing gods in flying machines? Not symbols, blueprints. Let's crank up the intrigue. What if the Anunnaki didn't just leave? What if their bloodline lingers in the elite? Conspiracy circles buzz with this. The Illuminati, those shadowy puppet masters, are descendants or puppets of the Anunnaki. Think about gold. Our obsession with it mirrors theirs. The Rothschilds, Rockefellers, those banking dynasties hoarding bullion. Could they be carrying Anunnaki genes, steering humanity towards some endgame? Forums light up with claims that royal families trace back to Sumerian kings, those demigods with thousand-year reigns in the king list. And the Bible's Nephilim, giants born of sons of God and human women, hybrid offspring, says the theory, buried in mounds worldwide, their skeletons suppressed by museums to hide the truth. Then there's the UFO angle tying it all together. Down in Peru, the Nazca lines, those massive geoglyphs etched into the desert, visible only from the sky. Erich von Däniken, another ancient astronaut pioneer, called them runways for alien craft. And get this, reports of UFOs buzzing the site aren't rare. In 2011, pilots spotted glowing orbs hovering over the figures. Locals whisper of lights dancing at night, like scouts checking old landing pads. Google Earth sleuths even claim to spot crashed saucers on the ocean floor nearby, metallic discs half buried in sediment. Is it coincidence that Nazca's designs include an astronaut figure waving from the hillside, or a message to the stars? We remember you? These threads weave a tapestry that's hard to ignore. Sumerian tablets speak of Anunnaki Shem fiery rockets ascending to heaven. Egyptian pyramids align with Orion, home to ancient gods. Mayan calendars track cosmic cycles eerily close to Nibiru's orbit. And modern sightings? Pilots over the Pacific report triangle crafts vanishing into thin air, echoing ancient Vimanas from Indian epics. What if it's all connected? What if the Anunnaki's return is nigh, as Nibiru swings back, triggering quakes, floods, the end times prophesied in every culture? But pause for a breath here. If this tale's got your mind racing through the night, you're in the right place. And if you find comfort in these deep dives into history's shadows, maybe hit that subscribe button on Mystery History for Sleep and turn on the bell so you catch every episode as it drops. I'm Mr. H, your late-night storyteller, pulling back the curtain on the world's wildest what-ifs. Now, let's keep unraveling this, because if Sitchin's right, the real question isn't, were we engineered? It's why. What grand purpose did these star-faring gods have for us puny humans? Were we just tools? Or something more, a legacy? A experiment gone rogue? Sitchin dug into the Enuma Elish, Babylon's creation epic, seeing not chaos gods clashing, but interstellar wars over resources. Tiamat, the primordial sea, a destroyed planet whose debris formed the asteroid belt. Marduk, the hero god, an Anunnaki warrior wielding plasma weapons. Critics scoff, but artifacts back some claims. Cylinder seals from 3000 BCE show figures in winged discs zipping over mountains. Sound like jets? Or something older, more advanced? And those Sumerian star maps depicting our solar system with 12 planets including one extra: Uranus, Neptune, Pluto unknown to ancients by telescope. Yet there they are. How? The controversy boils down to translation. Mainstream scholars say Sitchin twisted words. Nibiru means crossing place, a star or ferry, not a planet. But Sitchin countered, context matters. In astronomical texts, it's a celestial body, causing eclipses, tugging at orbits. Modern astronomers chase Planet 9, a hidden world explaining weird Kuiper Belt wobbles. Coincidence? Or rediscovery? Zoom out to the big picture. Human history's riddled with leaps that defy logic, from cave paintings to pyramids in a few millennia. Egyptian texts speak of Neteru gods from the sky, teaching math, medicine. Greek myths, Prometheus gifting fire, knowledge. Native American Hopi talk of star people descending, birthing clans. African Dogon know Sirius B, an invisible white dwarf, cycles matching Anunnaki timelines. Their Nomo gods? Amphibious beings from the stars like Enki, Lord of Waters. Some claim Vatican vaults hide Sumerian originals, suppressing truth to protect religious dogma. Freemason symbols eye in pyramid echo Anunnaki all-seeing gods. And Illuminati? Founded 1776, but whispers link to ancient mystery schools guarding Enki's Emmy's tablets of destiny, perhaps genetic codes or tech schematics. Modern elites attend Bohemian Grove rituals, mimicking ancient ceremonies. Is it play acting or homage to alien overlords? UFO ties seal the deal. Nazca's not alone. Over Giza, pilots report orbs scanning pyramids. In 2004, Mexican Air Force chased 11 UFOs on infrared. Ancient sites light up with activity. Stonehenge crop circles form overnight, patterns matching Sumerian math. Witnesses describe beings tall, elongated heads like Anunnaki depictions. Abductees recount genetic exams, echoing creation myths. So, are we engineered by alien gods? The evidence stacks up, but questions linger. If true, what's next? Nibiru's approach? A reckoning? Or awakening to our cosmic kin? The tablets whisper secrets. But the full story? That's for us to uncover, one unearthed clue at a time. Imagine hurtling through the cold void of space, your breath fogging an invisible window as a massive, crimson world looms ahead, its elongated orbit slinging it back toward our sun after thousands of years in the dark. This isn't some sci-fi flick, it's Nibiru, the rogue planet that's haunted ancient texts and modern conspiracy boards alike. But what if this hidden giant isn't just a myth spun by Sumerian scribes? What if it's the key to unlocking why our world has been rocked by cataclysms time and again, from biblical floods to ice ages that wiped out civilizations? And with astronomers buzzing about new discoveries in our solar system's fringes as of October 27th, 2025, could Nibiru be closing in right now, its gravitational pull already stirring up the chaos we're seeing on Earth? Let's get right into the thick of it. Nibiru, often called Planet X or the 12th planet in those dusty Sumerian clay tablets, isn't your average rock tumbling through space. According to Zecharia Sitchin's deep dives into those ancient records, it's a behemoth, maybe 5 to 10 times Earth's mass, with an orbit so stretched out it takes 3,600 years to loop around the Sunday. Picture our solar system like a flat dinner plate, with planets spinning neatly around the center. Nibiru? It's the wild card, shooting in from the outer edges on a long, elliptical path that crosses through the inner planets like a cosmic slingshot. When it swings close, its gravity tugs at everything: moons, asteroids, even Earth's tectonic plates, triggering Doomsday-level events. Sitchin pulled this from the Enuma Elish, that Babylonian creation epic, where gods battle in the heavens. He saw it as code for planetary collisions. Tiamat, an ancient world, gets smashed, its bits forming the asteroid belt, while Nibiru survives as the victor, forever wandering. But why hide a whole planet? Conspiracists point fingers at NASA, claiming they've been covering it up since the 1980s. Back then, headlines screamed about infrared surveys spotting something massive out beyond Pluto. The Washington Post ran a story in 1983 about a mystery body detected by the infrared astronomical satellite. NASA quickly backpedaled, calling it a distant galaxy or comet swarm. Skeptics say it's bunk, but fast forward to 2025, and the chatter's heating up again. Just last month, on October 13th, Live Science reported on Planet Y, a new theory from astronomers suggesting a hidden Earth-sized world lurking much closer than the original Planet 9 idea. It's smaller, maybe orbiting 20 times farther than Neptune, but its pull could explain weird wobbles in distant objects. CNN jumped on it October 3rd, noting how this Planet Y might be zipping around in 15,000 to 20,000 years, numbers that echo Sitchin's 3,600-year cycle, if you factor in multiples or harmonics. Dig deeper, and the updates keep coming. A September 16th piece in eos.org talked about a Kuiper Belt survey spotting over 150 far-out objects, hinting at a planet bigger than Mercury, shepherding them like a cosmic sheepdog. Wikipedia's Planet 9 page, updated this year, even floats ideas about its rocky makeup, closer to Earth than a gas giant. And Universe Sandbox's blog from just 3 days ago? They spotlighted a new sednoid called 2023 KQ14, a icy body that's throwing wrenches into the Planet 9 math. Its orbit doesn't fit the predictions, making some wonder if we're dealing with something more elusive, like a phase-shifting world that dips in and out of detection. Reddit threads from May 2nd this year buzz with astronomers claiming they've spotted hints in archival images, while Medium articles from September 22nd speculate these finds might kill the Planet 9 hunt altogether or redefine it as something straight out of myth. Conspiracy folks tie this straight back to Nibiru, saying NASA's been playing hide-and-seek. Remember the 2012 Doomsday hype? That was peak Nibiru fever, with folks claiming the Mayan calendar's end marked its return, triggering pole shifts and tsunamis. NASA issued denials, but theorists like David Mead, the guy who predicted apocalypse dates in 2017 and 2018, insisted it was all a cover-up. In 2025, the noise hasn't died. YouTube videos from February 23rd dissect Planet X exposed, blending Sitchin's translations with fresh telescope data. Quora debates rage. Is Planet Nibiru real? With answers slamming Sitchin for botched linguistics, but others point to Babylonian texts describing a crossing planet that eclipses stars and shakes the heavens. What's wild is how Nibiru's supposed cycle lines up with real historical wipeouts. Take the Great Flood, Sitchin says Nibiru's last pass around 13,000 years ago slipped Antarctica's ice sheet, flooding the globe. Geologists confirm a mega-flood around that time, the Younger Dryas event, where sea levels rose hundreds of feet, burying coastlines. Ancient texts from India to the Americas echo it. The Mahabharata's deluge, Hopi legends of worlds destroyed by water. Even the Bible's Noah, Ziusudra, in Sumerian lore, warned by Enki as Nibiru approached. Conspiracists say it's no coincidence Nibiru's gravity yanks at Earth, causing quakes, volcanoes, and magnetic flips. Fast forward, 2012 passed without doom, but theorists claim the elite bunkered down anyway, with underground cities like Denver Airport's rumored vaults stocked for the elite. Crop circles amp up the mystery, those intricate patterns flattening fields overnight. Skeptics blame pranksters with boards and ropes, but true believers see messages from Nibiru. Back in 2016, the Express UK ran a story on a spike in UK circles, claiming they heralded Nibiru's approach. One in Mir showed swirling designs theorists called particle flows from the planet's magnetic field. Zeta Talk, a fringe site channeling aliens, insists circles depict Nibiru's dual role through the ecliptic, warning of pole shifts. A 2017 Essex circle, a tripod with alien script atop circles, interpreted as Nibiru looming over Earth, timed with that year's solar eclipse. Reddits are divided by ancient aliens in 2022, buzzed about a circle mimicking Enki, Nibiru, and Marduk symbols, like Anunnaki graffiti. Even before its news in 2014, claimed artifacts under German circles from 1991 bronze, silver, gold plates, with codes were Anunnaki warnings of Nibiru's path. Purity tests supposedly showed non-human forging, Britannica and NPR documentaries debate aliens or hoaxes, but eyewitnesses report lights hovering before patterns form, electronics fritzing, stalks bent without breaking signs of energy fields. A full doc on YouTube from this year, crop circles, alien messages or human designs. Interviews experts puzzled by geometry tying to ancient glyphs or binary code, some resembling solar system maps with an extra planet. Users like Quantum Tumbler spun Nibiru as a harmonic mirror node. Not a physical planet, but a resonance trigger every 3,600 years, tracked by Vatican's Lucifer telescope. Brian Romel shared Sitchin's take on seals, showing the 12th planet. Zeta Talk Live warned Nibiru's complex is centering in front of the Sun by November, mimicking Comet Atlas but causing EMPs and storms. Kabama Taigeta back called Nibiru a Syrian mothership, irrelevant now due to galactic quarantine. These tie into broader doomsdays. NASA's hypothetical Planet X page still calls it theoretical, a Neptune-sized wanderer beyond Pluto. But Wikipedia notes 2025 studies suggesting rocky composition. Space.com debunks Nibiru as non-existent, yet How Stuff Works traces its roots to Sitchin's work. Britannica lists it among ghostly planets like Theia or Vulcan. Reddit's Futurism hyped a huge hidden planet with over 2,000 votes. Global News revisited 2018's April 23rd prediction by Mead Nibiru, sparking Armageddon. A fresh twist. NASA's temporary second moon PN7, spotlighted in a YouTube expert talk 5 days ago. Is it a mini-moon or Nibiru scout? Conspiracists say yes, part of the cover-up. Fly through space in your mind. Nibiru's crimson twilight. Eons of freeze, then solar blaze. Its people, the Anunnaki, evolved under that rhythm, their lives spanning our histories like a single year. But their world bled atmosphere, forcing the gold quest. Each return, Earth shakes floods, extinctions. The 3,600-year cycle matches Bronze Age collapses, Sumer's fall. Is Nibiru phasing in now? With quakes spiking, skies glowing oddly perhaps? Astronomers planet Y or sednoids? Clues to the hidden. Crop circles swirl warnings. X-posts decode signals. But what if Nibiru's crisis sparked more than mining? What if it led to tampering with life itself, right here on Earth? As you ponder this, nestled in your quiet corner of the world, I'd love to know, where are you listening from tonight? What hour does the clock strike in your part of the planet? Share a whisper of your place and time in the comments. It's always a thrill to see how far these stories travel. But for now, let's shift closer to Earth. What if Nibiru's crisis sparked more than mining? What if it led to tampering with life itself, right here on our blue world? Deep in the shadowy recesses of an ancient lab, where the air hums with the pulse of forbidden knowledge, a brilliant mind tinkers with the very threads of life. Enki, the clever one, the waterlord whose wisdom flows like underground rivers, isn't just playing God, he's rewriting the rulebook on existence itself. But what drives a being like him to meddle with the raw stuff of creation? Is it mercy for his overworked kin, or something darker, a thirst to mold lesser creatures into tools that serve a grander scheme? Enki stands out in the old stories as the rebel with a cause, the one who sees potential where others see only burden. While his brother Enlil storms and commands, Enki dives into the mysteries of biology, pulling apart the building blocks of beings like a master craftsman dissecting a flawed machine. Picture him in that primordial setup, not some sterile modern facility with beeping monitors, but a chamber alive with the scent of earth and water, vessels bubbling with essences drawn from the deep. He's not content with the wild hominids roaming the plains, those early wanderers with their crude tools and simple instincts. No, he envisions something more, a hybrid, a bridge between the stars and the soil, capable of toil but sparked with a divine flicker. The process isn't pretty. It starts with trial and error, failures that would make your stomach turn, creations that limp or falter, unable to hold the fusion of alien and earthly codes. Enki teams up with Ninhursag, the Earth Mother figure whose hands shape life like clay on a wheel. Together, they harvest samples from those primitive locals, beings we might call Homo erectus, sturdy and adaptive, but lacking the spark. They splice in sequences from their own kind, those advanced visitors with lifespans stretching across eras. It's like upgrading a basic engine with high-octane fuel, but the risks are huge. One wrong cut, and the whole thing collapses. What emerges is the Lulu Amelu, the mixed worker, a being designed for the minds but carrying unintended gifts. These first humans aren't flawless. They're prototypes, sterile at first, unable to pass on their traits without more intervention. But Enki pushes on, refining the blueprint. He activates dormant potentials, tweaking the code to allow reproduction, a move that defies the Council's orders. Why? Maybe he sees in us a reflection of his own rebellious spirit, or perhaps it's pity for creatures doomed to extinction without that edge. The stories paint him as the compassionate one, whispering secrets through reed walls to save a chosen few. But dig deeper, and you sense layers of motive. Is he building an army, or planting seeds for a future uprising against his own? This tinkering ties into wild ideas floating around today, where folks whisper about our DNA holding hidden switches. Think about those vast, non-coding regions, once dismissed as junk but now seen as regulators, perhaps even archives of ancient meddling. Some speculate these are remnants of Enki's work, sequences that could flip on under the right conditions, unlocking abilities we've forgotten. And the fusion point in chromosome 2? That's the spot where two ancestral strands merged, a hallmark of our split from apes. But what if it's not natural evolution? What if it's the scar from a deliberate weld, Enki's team fusing pieces to create a stable hybrid? The intrigue deepens when you look at physical oddities scattered across the globe. In the arid valleys of Peru, explorers have unearthed skulls that stretch backward like pulled taffy, crania far longer than any normal humans. These aren't just deformed by binding practices, though that's the official line wrapping infant heads in cloth to elongate them as a cultural rite. No, some of these specimens show volumes 25% larger than ours, with sutures fused in ways that defy artificial shaping. The Paracas culture left behind hundreds of these, mummified in desert sands, their hair often red or blonde in a region of dark-haired people. Theories swirl that these are markers of hybrid lineage, perhaps early experiments blending Anunnaki traits with local stock. Larger brains for sharper intellect, elongated forms echoing the tall, stately figures in Sumerian carvings. Imagine holding one of those skulls, feeling the weight of secrets in your palms. The bone structure suggests natural growth, not forced distortion. The parietal plates expanded outward, creating space for what? Enhanced cognition? Telepathic links to distant overseers? And the DNA tests? Early results hinted at mutations not matching known human lines, though debates rage. Some samples show Middle Eastern haplogroups in ancient South America, fueling ideas of transoceanic contact, or something more otherworldly. If Enki's hand reached that far, experimenting across continents, it paints a picture of global tinkering, seeding variations to test resilience. This echoes in modern labs, where tools mimic what Enki might have wielded. Picture scientists huddled over petri dishes, using precise cuts to edit genes, snipping out flaws or inserting enhancements. It's like they've rediscovered his playbook, crafting disease-resistant crops or designer babies. But whispers in fringe circles suggest it's no coincidence the knowledge trickled down through secret societies, guardians of ancient lore. Enki's symbols, those intertwined serpents, now adorn medical emblems, a nod to the double helix he supposedly mastered eons ago. Is it benevolence, or a continuation of control? Elites playing with the code to shape humanity's next phase. The forbidden part comes into sharp focus with the garden tale, reframed as Enki's defiance. In that lush enclosure, he offers the fruit of knowledge. But what if it's not metaphor? What if it's activating reproductive genes, allowing hybrids to breed freely, breaking the chains of sterility? Enlil fumes, seeing a population boom that threatens resources, while Enki champions our autonomy. This split drives the drama compassion versus order, creation versus containment. Enki's experiments birth not just bodies, but societies, teaching us agriculture, crafts, the seeds of civilization sprouting from his guidance. Yet, shadows linger. Some voices paint Enki not as savior, but deceiver, a figure blending compassion with cunning. He upgrades, but at what cost? Inserted flaws to keep us in check, predispositions to conflict, shortened lives to prevent accumulation of power. Those elongated skulls? Perhaps failed trials, or elite lines bred for loyalty. Their exaggerated features a badge of divine tampering. In hidden chambers, did Enki weave in back doors, sequences that respond to signals from afar, activating in times of crisis? Ponder the implications. If our essence carries his imprint, are we truly free, or echoes of an ancient agenda? Artifacts tease at this cylinder, seals, showing gods with tools over prostrate figures, birthing scenes with lab-like apparatus, and the ME tablets, those decrees of civilization, perhaps data drives holding genetic templates, passed down as sacred knowledge. Enki guards them jealously, doling out bits to jumpstart our progress, but always holding back the full unlock. The birth of humanity unfolds in stages, each a testament to Enki's mastery. First, the crude mixes beings with anomalies, as in tales where Ninhursag crafts flawed prototypes, Enki assigning them roles to mask imperfections. A limbless one becomes a advisor, turning weakness into wisdom. It's clever, but hints at ethical grey areas, creating life only to repurpose defects. Then comes the breakthrough, the viable hybrid, Adamu, breathing life into the line. Surrogates carry the embryos, Anunnaki females volunteering or coerced, their wombs bridging worlds. As numbers grow, so does complexity. Enki teaches but selectively irrigation from his watery domain, healing arts that echo modern medicine. Yet, whispers suggest insertions for obedience, genetic leashes ensuring we serve. Those with the mark, perhaps subtle traits like unusual blood types or rare alleles, carry purer strains, becoming kings or priests, intermediaries between realms. What if remnants of these experiments surface today? Elongated crania aren't unique to Peru, similar finds in Egypt, Malta, even Crimea, suggesting a global program. Some mummies show surgical scars, trepanation holes healed over, implying advanced interventions. DNA from these? Often contaminated or restricted, but leaks hint at anomalies, mitochondrial lines tracing to unknown origins, nuclear genes with insertions defying evolutionary models. Link this to current breakthroughs, where editing tools allow precise alterations, mirroring Enki's feats. Conspiracy edges in, are these rediscoveries or guided revelations? Labs pushing boundaries, curing genetic ills, but also enhancing Echo, the garden's temptation. What if elite programs splice in ancient sequences, creating superhumans loyal to hidden masters? Enki's legacy twists further in cultural echoes. As Ea in later tales, he advises heroes, but always with an agenda. In one yarn, he defies the flood decree, saving a remnant compassion or preserving his investment. His symbols persist. The fish, cloaked sage, blending aquatic origins with wisdom, perhaps hinting at amphibian roots in his own makeup. The birth narrative culminates in the first cries of independent life, hybrids stepping from shadows into sunlight. But freedom comes laced with curses, mortality's sting, labor's toil. Enki's gift? A double-edged blade, elevating us while binding to cycles of strife. Are we mere experiments, or something transcendent, evolving beyond the blueprint? As Enki's hand fades from the scene, the stage shifts to unrest among the workers, the Igigi, chafing under their loads, ready to ignite a rebellion that forces even greater changes. What happens when the created turn against the creators? You feel the weight first, the crushing grind of endless toil, your hands blistered and raw from clawing at unyielding rock, the air thick with dust that clings to your sweat-soaked skin like a second layer of misery. You're not some exalted figure lounging in celestial halls. You're one of the Igigi, the grunts of the divine crew, sentenced to break your back in the deep shafts for what feels like forever. Gold gleams in the torchlight, mocking you with its promise of salvation for a distant world. But all it brings you is pain. Whispers ripple through the ranks. How long until we snap? This isn't just labor. It's a slow unraveling, And when the breaking point hits, it changes everything, not just for you, but for the fragile creatures destined to inherit your chains. The Igigi aren't the stars of the show in those old tales. They're the supporting cast, the ones doing the dirty work, while the big names like Enlil bark orders from above. But peel away the gloss, and you see a workforce pushed to the edge. These beings, lesser in the hierarchy but essential, were hauled in to extract the precious metal that could patch their home planet's failing shield. Imagine descending into those ancient pits, places scattered across southern Africa, where modern explorers still puzzle over shafts that plunge deeper than logic allows. The rock walls echo with the clang of tools, the groans of exhaustion building like a storm. For cycles upon cycles, they dig, haul, refine gold dust sifting through their fingers, shipped off to distant skies. But bodies, even advanced ones, have limits. Fatigue sets in, resentment festers. Why us? Why not the lofty ones who claim dominion? It starts small, a missed quota here, a grumbled complaint there, but soon it boils over into full-blown defiance. The stories capture it vividly. The Igigi torch their equipment, a blaze lighting up the night like a signal fire. They march en masse, surrounding the command center, their voices a thunderous demand for relief. Enlil, the enforcer, faces them down, but even he senses the tide turning. This isn't a petty squabble, it's a crack in the foundation of their operation. If the workers fall, the gold stops flowing, and their world gasps its last breath. The council convenes in haste, debates raging through echoing chambers. Solutions fly automation, perhaps, or harsher controls, but nothing sticks until Enki, ever the innovator, floats his radical fix. Why not craft replacements from the local stock? That's where humanity's slave origins twist into the narrative, an origin story that's equal parts ingenuity and exploitation. The Igigi's uprising forces a pivot, turning eyes toward the primitive locals roaming the wild's upright walkers with basic smarts but no real edge. Enki's plan? Harvest their essence, blend it with superior strands to forge a labor force that's durable, trainable, and above all, expendable. No more relying on kin who might rebel. Create beings wired for obedience, their very makeup tuned to the task. It's a chilling efficiency, like designing a machine that breathes and bleeds but never questions its purpose. Envision the shift. The minds, once echoing with Igigi curses, now fill with the shuffle of new feet. These early humans, fresh from the molding, step into the void left by the revolt. Their backs bend under loads that would crush lesser frames, their hands learning the rhythm of extraction. But here's the intrigue. What hidden costs lurk in this handover? The stories hint at genetic tweaks, not just for strength, but for compliance. Shortened attention spans to curb curiosity, built-in hierarchies to foster division. Were we bred to squabble among ourselves, keeping our eyes off the bigger picture? Some speculate those ancient shafts hold clues, tools too refined for primitive hands, carvings that depict overseers with elongated forms directing huddled workers. In places like the Great Zimbabwe ruins, massive stone enclosures, puzzle experts, not fortresses perhaps, but processing hubs where gold was refined under watchful eyes. The rebellion's ripple effect spread wider, seeding doubts in the divine ranks. If the Igigi could rise up, what about these new creations? Enki's compassion shines through. He tweaks the design for resilience, slipping in sparks of ingenuity that let us innovate beyond mere digging. But Enlil pushes back, insisting on limits to prevent another revolt. This tension brews a fascinating undercurrent. Are we echoes of that Igigi spirit? Our own histories of uprisings, revolutions, strikes, quests for freedom mirroring their defiance? Think of labor movements through the ages, workers chaining gates and demanding rights. A faint resonance of that ancient march. Delve into the minds themselves, and the mystery thickens. Scattered across continents, these sites defy easy explanation. In South America, tunnels snake through mountains with precision cuts that suggest advanced tech-smooth walls as if melted, not chipped. Were these extensions of the Igigi's network, hidden branches where the workload spilled over? Artifacts emerge, strange metallic orbs, etched with unfamiliar scripts, buried in slag heaps. Some whisper these are power cells, fueling drills that hummed with energy from unknown sources. And the air down there, reports from modern cavers speak of eerie hums, magnetic anomalies that scramble compasses. Is it residual tech? Lingering fields from tools left behind? Humanity's role as successors to the Igigi casts a long shadow over our psyche. Bred for service, we inherit not just the labor, but the resentment. The old narratives describe us as black-headed people, toilers in the fields and depths, our sweat fueling empires above. But curiosity creeps in. What if the Igigi's rebellion planted seeds of resistance in our code? Uprisings.history. Slaves building pyramids who etched hidden pleas in stone, or miners in colonial pits who sparked revolts that toppled regimes. It's as if the echo of their torches still flickers, urging us to question our chains. Underground networks lace the globe, vast tunnel systems in Turkey, honeycombing the earth with rooms for thousands. Official takes call them ancient refuges, but imagine them as barracks for the workforce, safe from surface storms stirred by passing worlds. Echoes in folklore. Dwarves hammering in mountains, guardians of gold with otherworldly knowledge. Were these distorted memories of the Igigi, their forms twisted through oral tales into mythical smiths? The slave origins stirred deeper questions about our worth. Created to relieve divine drudgery, do we carry an inherent value, or are we disposable? Enki's touch suggests the former. He endows us with echoes of his wisdom, tools for survival beyond servitude. Yet the mines remind us of the latter, our history riddled with exploitation. Modern parallels intrigue. Sweatshops churning goods for distant elites. Workers in hidden factories mirroring those ancient shafts. Is it coincidence, or a pattern woven into our fabric? As the Igigi fade into relief, humanity steps forward, but not without scars. The rebellion's legacy? A workforce that's efficient but simmering, ready to boil over. Enlil tightens controls, but Enki's subtle gifts ensure we adapt, evolve. Those early slaves multiply, their numbers swelling until they strain the system, forcing the powers above to reckon with their creation. The powder keg builds what happens when the slaves outgrow their purpose, their clamor reaching the heavens. A cataclysm brews, one that threatens to wash it all away. If these deep dives into history's shadows keep you hooked, consider hitting that subscribe button and tapping the bell to catch every whisper of our next journey. For now, let's follow the tide. What catastrophe looms as the created challenge their creators? Crackling thunder splits the sky, and the ground trembles as if the earth itself is gasping for breath. Rivers swell beyond their banks, swallowing villages in a relentless surge, while the heavens unleash a torrent that blurs the line between sea and sky. This isn't some distant legend whispered in the dark, it's the raw fury of a world unraveling, a catastrophe that nearly erased us all. But was it the rage of a spiteful overlord, or the inevitable fallout from a wandering giant's gravitational embrace? As the waters rise in this tale, so do the questions. What secrets did the survivors carry away, and how do those echoes still ripple through our world, hidden in sunken ruins and forgotten warnings? Shift your gaze to the build-up, where the air thickens with omens that no one heeds. The overseers, those lofty beings perched in their elevated domains, notice the signs first, the subtle shifts in the stars, the unnatural pull on tides that drag ships off course. Enlil, ever the stern guardian of order, interprets it as judgment, a cleanse for the multiplying masses below, who have grown too loud, too numerous. Their clamor disturbs the peace, he argues, echoing through the councils like a persistent drum. But peel away his thunderous decrees, and you uncover layers of calculation. The hybrids, once mere tools, now teem across the lands, their ingenuity sparking fires of independence. Overpopulation strains resources, mines yield less, and whispers of unrest mirror the earlier revolt. Is the flood divine wrath, or a convenient reset button to cull the herd? Enki, the counterpoint, senses something cosmic at play. He tracks the anomalies, the erratic weather, the quakes that fracture ancient pathways. His domain, the watery depths, bubbles with warnings. Underground springs surge unexpectedly, flooding caverns where secrets are stored. He pieces it together. The rogue world's approach, its massive form warping the fabric of orbits, loosening ice caps and stirring oceans into frenzy. The stories frame it as a deluge sent from on high, but imagine it as physics gone wild, gravity's invisible hand yanking at polar sheets, causing them to slip and melt in a cascade that engulfs continents. Survivors' accounts, etched in clay or passed through generations, speak of a darkening sky, days without sun, as ash and vapor cloak the world. Was it punishment for hubris, or the side effect of a celestial visitor's swing-by, a doomsday cycle baked into the stars? Dive into the human side, where terror unfolds on the ground. Families huddle in reed huts as rains hammer relentlessly, turning fertile fields into muddy graves. Animals stampede in panic, sensing the end before it hits. One figure stands apart, the chosen one, tipped off in a dream or a voice through walls, scrambling to build a vessel from blueprints that defy local know-how. It's a submersible ark, not just a boat sealed against the depths, stocked with seeds and beasts to reboot life. Enki's hand here is subtle, yet profound. He bends the rules, leaking the plan to preserve his creations. Why risk it? Perhaps a father's attachment to his handiwork, or a strategic play to ensure the experiment continues. The waters rise, claiming cities that sink into silt, their ziggurats crumbling like forgotten sandcastles. What treasures vanished beneath? Libraries of knowledge, tech relics that could rewrite our understanding now, buried under layers of sediment, teasing archaeologists with glimpses. The catastrophe's scale boggles. Global myths converge on this event, from raging seas in Pacific lore to frozen deluges in northern tales. Sunken landmasses whisper of lost worlds, plateaus off India where structures lurk in the depths, or Caribbean anomalies that sonar paints as artificial grids. These aren't random. They align with zones where tectonic fury would peak under external pull. Divers report eerie formations, stepped pyramids half-eaten by coral, avenues leading nowhere, as if civilizations were snapped mid-stride. Could these be outposts of the experiment, branch sites where hybrids spread before the wipeout? The intrigue lies in the anomaly's artifacts pulled from muck with alloys that resist corrosion, engravings matching distant scripts. One such find, a metallic gear from ocean trenches, teeth meshed in ratios that echo advanced mechanics, defying the era's supposed tech level. As the flood peaks, the divine drama intensifies. Enlil watches from orbit, his satisfaction laced with regret as the waves claim his domain. But Enki's loophole saves a thread, the ark bobbing through chaos, a capsule of life adrift in oblivion. The descent from the heights reveals devastation, landscapes scoured clean, valleys choked with debris. The council reconvenes amid the ruins, accusations flying. Enki stands firm, defending his act as preservation, not treason. It's a pivotal clash, wrath versus wisdom, destruction versus continuity. The outcome? A reluctant pact. Humanity endures, but altered, their potential capped to avert future threats. Shortened spans, ingrained divisions, a genetic leash to keep us grounded. Post-flood, the world reboots in fragments. Survivors scatter, carrying tales that morph into epics. A rainbow promise here, a raven scout there. But buried in these are clues to the cause descriptions of a wandering star heralding the end. Skies aflame with meteors as orbits destabilize. Modern probes echo this. Sediment cores from lakes show spikes in iridium, markers of cosmic impacts or atmospheric upheavals. Valleys in the Himalayas bear scars of megafloods, channels carved in a blink by volumes that dwarf modern rivers. These physical echoes fuel curiosity. Was it one event, or a cycle repeating every few millennia, triggered by the same elusive force? The cosmic angle tantalizes gravity's dance, turning benign orbits into weapons. Imagine the pull amplifying quakes, volcanoes spewing ash that chokes the sun, leading to mini ice ages. Evidence mounts in ice layers, sudden cooling spikes aligning with myth timelines, pollen shifts showing ecosystems flipped overnight. And the human toll? Populations bottlenecked, genetic diversity narrowed, a sign of near extinction, survivors rebuilding from scraps. Yet, ingenuity blooms anew. Post-deluge bursts in tech, as if unlocked knowledge surges forth. Was this Enki's gift? Embedded codes activating in crisis? Wrath? Or catastrophe? The line blurs. Enlil's decree masks the inevitable, using nature's fury as a tool. But probe deeper. Perhaps the flood serves dual purposes, culling excess while testing resilience. Survivors emerge hardier, their tales warning of hubris. Sunken sites beckon. Off Japan's coast, Yonaguni's terraces defy natural erosion. Steps and angles, suggesting crafted hands. Divers glide through submerged streets, pondering if these are flood casualties. Outposts drowned when seas rose. Acoustic surveys reveal more grids under the Gulf of Mexico, anomalies in the Black Sea mirroring biblical depths. The narrative weaves intrigue. What if the Ark held more than life archives, perhaps safeguarding forbidden lore? Scattered descendants guard fragments, their bloodlines carrying latent traits. Modern anomalies hint at this: isolated groups with unique genes, resistant to ills or bearing unusual markers. And the divine regret? It humanizes the overseers, revealing cracks in their armor. Enki's defiance sparks a new era, but at what price? The flood's legacy, a world scarred, yet reborn. Humanity's slate wiped, but not blank. As waters recede, the reset unfolds genetic tweaks to hobble potential, ensuring no repeat threats. But seeds of rebellion linger, buried in our core, waiting for the next cycle's stir. What forgotten structures rise from the mud, monuments to a power that defies time? As the last echoes of the deluge fade into a hushed drizzle, you emerge from shelter into a world reborn yet scarred, where mud-choked valleys stretch like open wounds, and the air hangs heavy with the scent of renewal and ruin. The survivors, a handful clinging to fragments of the old ways, gaze upon this blank canvas with a mix of awe and dread. But the overseers above aren't content to let nature take its course. They intervene once more, tweaking the very essence of those who remain, dialing back potentials to ensure control. This isn't just survival, it's a calculated downgrade, a genetic pruning that leaves humanity hobbled, forever chasing shadows of what we might have been. And rising from the silt, colossal stone sentinels, their purposes shrouded in enigma, whispering of powers that defy the ravages of water and time. What hidden functions do these megaliths serve, and how do they tie into the invisible chains woven into our blood? Wander with me through this reshaped landscape, where the flood's retreat unveils opportunities for reinvention, but on whose terms? The key players convene in ethereal councils, debating the fate of their creations. The one with the stormy disposition pushes for restrictions, viewing the near extinction as a lesson unheeded, while the water-wise innovator argues for mercy, slipping in subtle safeguards amid the alterations. The result? A subtle rewrite of our blueprint. Lifespans clipped short once, vast potentials narrowed to prevent any single life from amassing too much wisdom or strength. Imagine the code within you, those spiraling strands, now laced with deliberate flaws, switches flipped to foster division, to seed rivalries that keep us fragmented. It's like planting weeds in a garden to choke the blooms, ensuring no threat rises to challenge the gardeners. This recalibration sparks endless curiosity. Why impose such limits? Perhaps to avert another overgrowth, or to mold us into perpetual dependence, forever reliant on guidance from above. Traces linger in our makeup bottlenecks, where diversity plummets, leaving populations vulnerable to ailments that thrive in uniformity. Think of isolated groups today, where rare traits cluster unnaturally, echoing those ancient trims. These aren't random quirks. They're echoes of a deliberate cull, a narrowing that funnels our paths, curbing the wild branches of possibility. What lost abilities vanished in that edit? Heightened senses, perhaps, or resilience against the elements, glimpses in folklore of giants striding the earth, their stature a remnant of untamed code before the snip. From this muted foundation, wonders erupt massive stone constructs that seem to mock the fragility imposed on flesh. Picture stumbling upon a plateau where pyramids pierce the horizon, their faces once gleaming like captured sunlight, now weathered but unyielding. These aren't mere tombs or temples. They're feats that scream of assistance beyond human hands, alignments with distant stars, chambers humming with acoustic tricks that amplify whispers into roars. Could they harness energies we barely grasp? Explorers puzzle over their precision, blocks weighing tons fitted without mortar, oriented to solstices with accuracy that rivals modern tools. In the sands, one such complex channels the Nile's flow in ways suggesting hidden hydraulics, perhaps powering mechanisms long silenced. Venture further, and similar enigmas dot the globe circles of standing stones in misty fields, their arrangements mapping celestial paths. These rings, etched with symbols that tease at forgotten languages, vibrate under certain moons, as if tuned to frequencies from afar. Locals spin yarns of lights dancing atop them, energies that heal or confound. What if these are anchors, stabilizing the land against future upheavals, or beacons signaling to the skies? Recent probes uncover more. In arid valleys, stepped platforms emerge from dunes, their layouts mirroring star clusters known only to ancients. Divers off coasts find submerged counterparts, grids of columns swallowed by rising seas, hinting at networks spanning continents before the waters claimed them. The Downgrades' shadow falls here too, our forebears. Fresh from the reset, labor under these monoliths, their reduced vigor a stark contrast to the grandeur. Yet, ingenuity persists. Ramps of sand and water, levers of wood and rope, channeling collective will to raise the impossible. But whispers suggest shortcuts, levitation through sound, or devices that bend gravity, relics of the pre-flood era now guarded jealously. In hidden chambers, carvings depict figures wielding staffs that glow, directing stones as if weightless. These aren't fantasies. Echoes in oral traditions describe tones that shatter rock or lift burdens, a science veiled as magic. Curiosity builds around their true roles. One theory paints them as energy hubs, resonators tapping Earth's pulses to generate power chambers where crystals once hummed, fueling lights or shields against cosmic rays. Test the acoustics. Voices in central spots amplify, vibrations that could charge unseen mechanisms. In lush jungles, terraced mounds align with solstices, their steps channeling rain into reservoirs that power hydraulic lifts. Recent digs reveal more. In eastern hills, elongated chambers with magnetic anomalies, stones that deflect compasses as if infused with fields. Could these stabilize regions prone to quakes, countering the wanderer's pull? The genetic angle intertwines intriguingly post-reset. Our code carries markers of constriction, diversity squeezed through narrow gates. Populations rebound, but with echoes of loss, traits that cluster in families, vulnerabilities that spread unchecked. Imagine ancestors emerging altered, their memories foggy, instincts dulled to prevent overreach. Yet, in building these wonders, sparks reignite collaborations that forge bonds, innovations born from necessity. But the limits bite. Shorter lives mean knowledge fragments, passed hurriedly before the curtain falls. What epics were lost in those abbreviated spans, wisdom evaporating like morning dew? Global similarities fuel curiosity, stepped structures in distant isles, their faces carved with stern gazes overlooking seas. How did isolated groups erect such behemoths? Alignments syncing with far-off counterparts. Networks of knowledge, perhaps survivors, dispersing with blueprints in tow. In frozen tundras, buried circles emerge, stones etched with spirals that match genetic motifs, as if encoding the downgrade itself. Probes reveal underground voids, chambers with murals depicting starry visitors, directing the builds a visual record of the reset's architects. These megaliths stand as puzzles, observatories tracking the skies for signs of return, or generators harnessing ley lines, invisible currents that pulse through Earth. Modern scans show anomalies, electromagnetic spikes at cores, suggesting latent activity. Wanderers report hums at dawn, vibrations that soothe or unsettle. In one verdant plane, alignments form solar calendars, predicting eclipses with eerie precision tools for survival, warning of cosmic rhythms that once drowned the world. The downgrade's purpose tantalizes, a safeguard against rebellion, or a test of resilience? Our code, narrowed yet adaptable, drives us to these feats, proving we transcend the trim. But shadows linger. What if these stones hold keys to reversal? Chambers where ancient sequences await activation. Hidden doors, perhaps, leading to vaults of unaltered essence. As societies reform around these anchors, hierarchies solidify, priests guarding the sites, rituals binding communities. The wonders become focal points, drawing pilgrims who sense deeper truths. In arid plateaus, vast drawings etch the ground, visible only from heights, messages to the skies, or maps of genetic flows. The intrigue peaks in submerged finds, off coastal shelves, ruins pulse with bioluminescence, structures that withstood the surge. Divers glimpse arches defying corrosion, inscriptions glowing under light. These underwater realms suggest pre-flood peaks, downgraded but not destroyed, waiting for rediscovery. Humanity's post-reset arc bends toward these enigmas, our limited spans fueling urgency to build lasting marks. Yet, the downgrade ensures fragmentation. Tribes splinter, knowledge silos. What unified vision was lost? These stones, silent witnesses, beckon with unanswered calls, power sources for a rebooted world, or memorials to the cull? Their alignments with forgotten constellations hint at navigation aids, guiding future arrivals. As the reset solidifies, influences spread echoes in distant lands where similar forms rise, carrying the stamp of shared origins. What traces of these interventions linger in global lore, binding disparate cultures in a web of mystery? As you lie there, wrapped in the night's embrace, let your thoughts drift to these ancient enigmas. I'm curious, where are you hearing this tale unfold? What time is it where you are, as the stars wheel overhead? Drop a note in the comments to share your corner of the globe and the hour on your clock. It's fascinating to feel our shared journey across the world. But now, let's wander further. What traces of these interventions linger in global lore, binding disparate cultures in a web of mystery? Wander with me now, dear listeners, across a tapestry of lands where the whispers of ancient visitors seem to linger in the wind-swept ruins and starlit ceremonies. From the sun-scorched deserts of the Middle East to the mist-shrouded peaks of the Andes, echoes of those towering figures, the ones who shaped clay into life and stars into maps, resonate in ways that make you question if one story birthed them all. Could it be that the Anunnaki, those enigmatic architects from the cradle between two rivers, didn't confine their influence to one corner of the globe? As we trace these threads, you'll find yourself piecing together a puzzle where gods wear different masks, but their footprints match, hinting at a shared blueprint hidden just beneath the surface of our diverse heritages. Let's start our journey in the vast expanses of the Americas, where the Inca spoke of Viracocha, a wanderer from the foam of Lake Titicaca, who molded humanity from clay and taught the arts of civilization before vanishing across the sea. Picture him, a bearded figure in flowing robes, striding through the highlands, raising walls that fit without mortar, much like the seamless stones in distant ziggurats. The Inca described him as a bringer of knowledge, vanishing in a craft that skimmed the waves. Does that not stir memories of skyfaring overseers descending to impart wisdom? Local legends add layers. Viracocha's companions, tall and pale, mirrored in tales of white gods who arrived from afar, their teachings echoing the organizational genius that built empires from scattered tribes. What if these were splintered memories of the same visitors, adapting their message to new soils, leaving behind terraces that harness water-like engineered miracles? Shift southward to the enigmatic statues of Easter Island, those brooding moai gazing eternally seaward. Carved from volcanic tuff, these colossal heads, some towering 30 feet, defy easy explanation. How did isolated islanders quarry, transport, and erect them with mere ropes and logs? Folklore speaks of mana, a mystical force that made the stones walk. But dig into the whispers, and you uncover tales of giant ancestors, beings from the stars who commanded the rock with unseen power. Their elongated features, stern and watchful, parallel depictions of elongated crania elsewhere, as if sculpted in homage to visitors with stretched skulls and commanding presences. Imagine the island as a remote outpost, the Moai as beacons or guardians, aligned to solstices in patterns that mirror cosmic maps from far-off lands. UFO sightings pepper the region, even now glowing orbs dipping toward the statues, as if checking on ancient sentinels. Could these be automated check-ins, probes ensuring the markers stand? Now, veer northward to the arid canyons where the Hopi weave their narratives of survival and star kin. Their lore tells of the Ant people, subterranean saviors who sheltered ancestors during world-ending cataclysms, emerging to rebuild. These beings, with slender forms and large heads, taught farming and weaving, their ant-like efficiency, a metaphor, or perhaps a literal description of organized labor from below. Cross-reference this with artifacts from distant shores. Japanese dogu figurines, clay idols with goggle eyes and suited bodies, evoking spacefarers or insectoid helpers. Similar motifs appear in European Vinca carvings, three-fingered humanoids that bridge continents, or New Zealand Maori statues echoing the same triad digits. It's as if a common archetype hopped cultures, adapting to local flavors but retaining core traits helpers from hidden realms, guiding humanity through resets. Recent discussions online amplify this. Threads linking Hopi ant people to Nazca mummies, those desiccated forms with elongated skulls and three fingers, suggesting a global network of such entities, perhaps offshoots of the original visitors. Pivot to Africa's sun-baked plains, home to the Dogon, whose star knowledge baffles outsiders. They speak of the Nomo, amphibious beings from Sirius who descended in a spinning arc, imparting secrets of the cosmos. Their maps of Sirius B, a dense, invisible companion star, predate telescopes, detailing its 50-year orbit with uncanny precision. These fish-like teachers, blending water and wisdom, parallel the watery domain of a certain innovator who shaped life from mud. Dogon rituals reenact the arrival, with masks and dances that evoke cosmic journeys, their knowledge guarded in cliffside villages. UFO encounters in the region add spice. Witnesses describe crafts hovering over sacred sites, lights pulsing in rhythms that match ceremonial drums. What if these are echoes of ongoing contact, the Nomo or their kin monitoring descendants? Circle back eastward to the Nile's fertile banks, where Egyptian deities mirror Mesopotamian counterparts in intriguing ways. Anubis, the jackal-headed guide to the afterlife, shares phonetic ties with Anu, the Sky Father, both overseeing transitions between realms. Osiris, dismembered and reborn, echoes tales of fragmented creation gods reassembled through clever intervention. Pyramids, those star-aligned behemoths, serve as resurrection machines in lore, their shafts pointing to Orion, perhaps a homing signal to ancestral skies. Hidden chambers, revealed by modern scans, hold anomalies, voids with unknown contents, electromagnetic pulses that intrigue engineers. Conspiracy murmurs suggest Vatican archives conceal papyri linking these pantheons, suppressing unified origins to preserve divided faiths. Imagine clandestine meetings where scholars pore over forbidden scrolls, piecing together a narrative where gods traverse borders, reshaping myths to fit local tongues. This global web extends to Asia's misty isles and beyond. In Japan, the dogu stand sentinel in museums, their helmeted forms suggesting protective suits, eyes wide as if scanning horizons. Maori lore in the Pacific speaks of sky beings with three-fingered hands, creators who sailed from distant realms, their carvings mirroring those Balkan Vinca idols from Europe's heart. It's a chain, from Hopi ants to Vinca hybrids, each culture adding a twist but preserving the core tall visitors with elongated features, imparting tech and vanishing. Online buzz connects these dots, posts theorizing shared pre-flood languages, where Anu morphs into Umpu, jackal gods bridging Sumer and Egypt as fragments of an older tongue. Others link Yoruba influences in Africa to Asian roots, animistic threads weaving through Nok and beyond, suggesting migrations guided by star kin. In India, Vedic hymns praise sky chariots and battles among gods, their vimanas streaking like comets, wielding weapons that level cities. These echo council disputes, sibling rivalries playing out in fiery spectacles, Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime stories of rainbow serpents coiling through creation mirror, watery shapers, beings who mold land and life from primal chaos. Even Norse sagas hint at it. Frost giants and sky gods clashing, their realms connected by bridges of light, perhaps distorted memories of cosmic arrivals. Over Inca ruins, drones capture orbs weaving through mist, lights that pulse in ancient patterns. In Mexico, Teotihuacan's layout, a scaled solar system with an extra orb, buzzes with UFO activity, crafts hovering like curious observers. Witnesses describe tall figures in shadows, elongated silhouettes that vanish at dawn. Conspiracy layers add depth. Elite circles, drawing from these echoes, guard rituals that mimic star alignments, perhaps invoking old pacts. Vatican vaults, rumored to hold Sumerian Egyptian hybrids, fuel debates why suppress connections if not to control the narrative. These footprints form a mosaic, gods as travelers, seeding cultures with shared motifs, clay creation, sky descents, hybrid offspring. From Moai's stairs to Dogon's stars, the pattern emerges, a global imprint defying isolation. What unified force scattered these seeds? Trade winds or deliberate dispersion? As these cultural veins pulse, the question lingers, how do these ancient imprints surface in today's shadows, in our blood and prophecies of return? As the evening deepens and the first stars prick the velvet sky, let's turn inward for a moment. Imagine holding a mirror to your own essence, that intricate spiral within every cell that tells a story older than memory. What if those hidden strands, the so-called silent parts of your DNA, aren't quiet at all? Picture yourself in a softly lit room, a simple swab in hand, sending off a sample to unravel your ancestry. The results trickle back, traces of far-flung origins, unexpected markers that don't quite fit the family tree. But delve deeper, beyond the surface percentages, and you stumble into the realm of what scientists once brushed off as filler, the vast stretches of non-coding DNA that make up most of our genome. Recent explorations reveal these aren't idle scraps. They're dynamic players, sensing shifts in our surroundings and steering how genes switch on or off. One breakthrough shows them responding to environmental cues, potentially unlocking paths to tackle stubborn diseases by tweaking these overlooked regulators. Another uncovers ancient viral remnants embedded there, not as invaders but as helpers in early development, guiding the intricate dance of cells forming a new life. It's as if these sequences, dismissed for so long, hold a hidden orchestra, conducting symphonies we barely understand. What if they're more than that, archives of an external hand, inserted long ago to monitor or modulate our path? This notion tugs at the curious mind. Could these non-coding regions be deliberate implants, switches waiting for a signal? In the quiet of the lab, researchers classify them anew, spotting patterns that hint at regulatory powerhouses, perhaps even silencers or enhancers co-opted from viral ghosts. Tools born from artificial intelligence now illuminate these dark corners, spotting microproteins, tiny players encoded in what we thought was empty space, that could reshape how we view health and heredity. Feel the intrigue build. If these elements drive gene activity, influencing everything from aging to resilience, might they carry echoes of an ancient upgrade, or a downgrade as some tales suggest, capping our potential to keep us in check? The spiral tightens when you consider chromosome 2, that fused giant in our set, standing apart from our primate kin who sport an extra pair. Science paints it as a natural merger, the glue that set us on our unique track, perhaps even sparking the shift to walking upright by altering developmental cues. But pause and ponder, what if that fusion point isn't evolution's accident, but a deliberate seam, stitched to blend lineages from stars and soil? These DNA fingerprints invite endless speculation, like staring into a genetic mirror that reflects not just ancestors, but architects. Rare alleles pop up in populations, clusters of traits that defy migration models' unusual blood factors, or metabolic quirks hinting at inserted advantages. In isolated communities, these markers concentrate, sparking whispers of preserved lines, guardians of purer code. Modern mapping tools uncover these anomalies, revealing how viral insertions those ancient hitchhikers now regulate core processes, from immune responses to brain wiring. It's captivating. These once junk elements might be the key to untangling why some thrive in extremes, or why certain lineages carry unexplained gifts. Could they be latent switches, ready to activate under cosmic triggers, awakening dormant echoes of our makers? As we linger on these molecular mysteries, the narrative flows toward prophecies that quicken the pulse, the foretellings of a return, when those ancient shapers circle back. Whispers circulate in shadowed forums and late-night gatherings, signs in the skies, alignments that herald the wanderer's approach. Astronomers chase shadows in the outer reaches, spotting clues to a hidden world perhaps smaller than first thought, lurking closer, its pull herding distant rocks in telltale patterns. Surveys of icy fringes reveal over 100 far-flung objects, their orbits suggesting a massive shepherd, more substantial than Mercury, shaping the void. These aren't idle theories. They're built on data streams from telescopes peering into the dark, refining hunts that tease at something elusive, a rival to grander visions yet compelling in its proximity. The prophecies weave through these findings, blending science with ancient lore. Online voices pulse with urgency. Insiders from hidden circles claim the Anunnaki's fleet nears, drawn by Earth's turmoil, ready to reclaim or reset. One thread warns of a shockwave awakening humanity, timed to late October, urging preparation for reclaimed inheritances from lost realms like sunken continents or forgotten empires. Another echoes Pentagon whispers, suggesting the return aligns with celestial markers, a homecoming that could shatter illusions. Even creative sparks ignite. A new film envisions this 2025 arrival, blending myth with modern dread, stirring debates on whether it's fiction or foreshadowing. These visions tantalize. What form would a return take? Crafts piercing clouds, or subtle influences through dreams and signs? Some foresee benevolence, a lifting of veils, unlocking those DNA archives to restore lost potentials. Others warn of judgment, the stormy one enforcing order amid chaos. Galactic quarantines factor in, barring interference until thresholds cross. But cracks appear, increased sightings, orbs dancing over ancient sites, as if scouting the terrain. Prophetic films and channels amplify, sky beings reclaiming a corrupted creation, humanity ascending beyond their grasp. Ancient myths promise a golden era post-collapse, where we tread paths the gods feared, inheriting divine sparks. What if those embedded sequences respond to the Wanderer's field, activating as it nears? Environmental sensors in our code could stir, awakening traits for the shift. Viral legacies might bridge to cosmic signals, regulating responses to incoming energies. Fusion scars could pulse, triggering evolutions like upright strides, now perhaps mental leaps. Ponder the elite's role, lineages guarding these secrets, their blood perhaps purer, steering toward the event. Whispers of bunkers stocked, rituals invoking the return, preparations for reunion or reckoning. Global unrest mirrors, prophecies, divisions deepening, as if coded conflicts flare in anticipation. These legacies weave a web, DNA as a living archive, prophecies as roadmaps to reunion. What activations await? A bloom of awareness? Or a cull of the unworthy? The stars hold clues, their alignments whispering of cycles closing. As you sink into these cosmic riddles, I'm curious, where are you tuning in from tonight? And what's the hour where you are? Share a quick note in the comments. It's always a thrill to connect across the globe. If you're enjoying these tales of hidden truths, maybe give that subscribe button a click and turn on the bell to stay with us for more. But now, let's peer deeper. What unexplained lights and forms hint at their vanguard, probing our readiness. These aren't mere campfire tales. They're threads in a vast web, tugging at the Anunnaki's lingering influence. What if UFOs aren't visitors from afar, but echoes of ancient fleets? What if giants walked among us as hybrid enforcers? And what concealed technologies pulse beneath our feet, waiting for the right key? First, let's chase those elusive lights that streak across night skies, leaving trails of wonder and unease. You've probably glanced up on a clear evening and spotted something odd, a glowing orb zipping erratically, or a silent triangle slicing through clouds without a whisper. These UFOs, or UAPs as officials now call them, to sound less sensational, have surged in reports lately, with pilots and civilians alike capturing footage that defies easy dismissal. Picture a commercial flight crew over the Pacific, their instruments flickering as a cluster of spheres dances around the plane, vanishing in a blink. Or ground observers in rural spots, phones in hand, recording crafts that morph shapes mid-air, pulsing with colors that shift like living entities. These aren't just blips on radar, they're encounters that challenge our understanding of physics, hovering without propulsion, accelerating at speeds that would pulverize human pilots. What ties them to our ancient shapers? Many sightings cluster near sacred sites, pyramids, stone circles, places etched with star maps that mirror the Anunnaki's celestial knowledge. Imagine drones over Giza, capturing orbs weaving through the monuments as if inspecting old handiwork. Or in the Andes, where locals report saucers descending into valleys lined with Inca walls, lights illuminating carvings that depict sky beings. These phenomena spark endless speculation. Are they reconnaissance probes, scanning for remnants of genetic experiments? Or automated guardians, ensuring the downgrades hold? Witnesses describe a sense of being watched, an intelligence behind the lights that feels ancient, purposeful. In one account, a farmer in the Midwest watches a craft land silently, figures emerging tall, slender, their movements fluid like water over stone before retreating as dawn breaks. Such stories accumulate, building a mosaic where modern skies reflect forgotten arrivals. The intrigue deepens with government murmurs, hearings where officials admit to unexplained aerial threats, footage released showing maneuvers that outpace our tech. Whispers in corridors suggest recovered materials, alloys that bend without breaking, fibers lighter than air yet stronger than steel. Could these be scraps from Anunnaki vessels, reverse engineered in hidden labs? Conspiracy circles buzz with tales of black budgets funneling billions into programs that mimic these crafts. Anti-gravity drives, humming in underground facilities. Pilots from elite squadrons share off-record. Encounters where crafts respond to thoughts, as if linked telepathically, echoing myths of mind over matter control wielded by ancient overseers. Now, shift your focus downward, to the earth that yields colossal secrets, bones of giants, unearthed from mounds and caves, their proportions defying our norms. Envision archaeologists brushing away soil to reveal femurs twice the length of a man's, skulls that dwarf our own, teeth ground from diets of tough game. These aren't fables from fairy tales. They're tangible finds, scattered across continents, from American prairies to European hillsides. In the States, native mounds give up skeletons measuring 8 to 10 feet, their burial goods ornate with copper and mica, materials worked with precision that hints at advanced metallurgy. Locals guard these sites with reverence. Stories passed down of ancient ones who strode the land, builders of earthworks that align with solstices. What connection to our creators? These giants, or Nephilim in some lore, emerge as hybrids offspring of sky visitors and earthly kin, bred for strength in mines or battles. Their remains often cluster near resource-rich areas, veins of gold or copper, as if stationed to oversee extraction. Museums hold fragments, elongated crania with double rows of teeth, bones denser than ours, suggesting adaptations for heavier gravity or longer lifespans. Skeptics cry hoaxes, but persistent digs reveal more mass graves, where oversized frames lie alongside normal ones, implying coexistence or conflict. In one cavern system, explorers find murals depicting tall figures directing smaller workers, tools in hand that glow with inner light. These discoveries fuel debates. Were they enforcers, keeping the slave lines in check, or failed experiments, their size a glitch in the genetic weave? The curiosity swells with suppressed finds, reports of institutions whisking away skeletons, cataloguing them in private vaults to avoid rewriting history. Amateur sleuths share photos, a jawbone from a Pacific island, massive enough to cradle a human head, etched with symbols matching distant scripts. These giants bridge myths. Greek titans, Celtic Fomorians, all colossal beings clashing with gods, perhaps distorted recollections of internal Anunnaki strife. Modern scans on rare samples show anomalies, bone structures with extra vertebrae, as if designed for greater leverage. What if these were the elite guard, their DNA a purer blend, now diluted in us through generations? Seamlessly, these threads lead to hidden tech, artifacts that pulse with enigmas, defying rust and reason. Unearthed from sodden earth or sealed tombs, these gadgets whisper of lost sciences, crystal spheres that refract light into holograms, metallic orbs that levitate in magnetic fields. In one Andean cache, a gear system emerges, teeth meshed in ratios for celestial tracking, materials alloyed with elements rare on our world. These aren't crude inventions, they're sophisticated, suggesting energy harnessed from vibrations or ether. Explorers report devices that activate near certain frequencies, hums from chants causing them to glow, projecting maps of unfamiliar constellations. Tying back to the Anunnaki, these could be leftovers from their toolkit, handbags in carvings, perhaps power cells or data nodes, carried by figures across cultures. In hidden chambers beneath stone wonders, mechanisms whir to life under scrutiny, emitting fields that alter perceptions, time, dilation perhaps, or visions of starry origins. Conspiracy edges sharpen. Governments hoard these, labs dissecting them for breakthroughs in energy or propulsion. Whispers of anti-gravity tech, drawn from crashed crafts or ancient relics, powering black projects. In remote deserts, test sites rumble with experiments mimicking these finds, drones that bend light, vanishing like ghosts. The allure lies in the unknowns, a battery from a sealed vase, still holding charge after eons, its electrolyte a mystery compound, or disks inscribed with binary-like codes, decoding to star charts with extra worlds. These artifacts cluster near giant remains or UFO hotspots, forming triangles of intrigue bones in mounds near flight paths, tech in caves overlooking ancient alignments. What unified purpose? Monitoring stations, left to observe our progress? Or fail-safes against our overreach? UFOs scouting giant grave sites, tech activating during sightings. Witnesses near these zones report dreams of tall beings, directives encoded in light. It's a symphony of the unexplained, each note pulling you deeper into the possibility that our world is a stage, the Anunnaki's script still unfolding. These enigmas bridge to darker undercurrents, what conspiracies cloak their influence in today's power structures, shaping our reality from the shadows. Dear listeners, what if the Anunnaki aren't relics of a forgotten past, but active architects shaping our present? Let's begin by following the glittering trail of gold, that eternal symbol of power and desire, which some claim ties directly to the Anunnaki's original quest. In today's world, gold isn't just a commodity, it's a cornerstone of global finance, hoarded in vaults by families whose influence spans centuries. Think of the banking dynasties, those names whispered in boardrooms and conspiracy circles alike, accused of steering economies from behind closed doors. Theories abound that these elites are no mere mortals but carriers of ancient bloodlines, hybrids or descendants preserving the Anunnaki's agenda. Their control over precious metals echoes the visitors' desperation for atmospheric repairs, now morphed into a tool for earthly dominance. Why else would central banks amass fortunes in bullion, manipulating markets to maintain scarcity? It's as if the gold rush never ended, just went underground, fueling a system where wealth concentrates in few hands, leaving the masses to scramble. Unveil the next layer, and you find these families linked to secretive societies, groups that meet in opulent halls under symbols that hark back to Sumerian motifs, eyes watching from pyramids, serpents entwined in eternal coils. These cabals, often painted as puppet masters of world events, are said to orchestrate shifts in power, ensuring the Anunnaki's blueprint endures. Whispers in online shadows suggest their rituals invoke star alignments, calling upon celestial forces for guidance or favor. One intriguing angle, the obsession with blood purity, where intermarriages among the elite preserve genetic lines purportedly traced to those ancient engineers. Could this explain the recurring dynasties in finance and politics, families whose fortunes seem untouchable, weathering crashes that devastate others? It's a tantalizing thought, perhaps. Their resilience stems from embedded advantages, traits that confer cunning or longevity, remnants of a superior splice. Now, consider how this shadow extends to global upheavals, like pandemics that sweep the world, leaving trails of fear and control in their wake. Some voices in fringe discussions posit these events as modern cullings, echoing the flood's wrath but cloaked in science and policy. The idea is chilling. Engineered outbreaks to thin populations, mirroring the overseer's past resets when humanity grew too burdensome. Elites, positioned at the helm of pharmaceutical empires and health organizations, are accused of wielding these as tools for depopulation, ensuring resources remain plentiful for the few. Theories swirl around vaccines and treatments, suggesting they're laced with trackers or modifiers, subtle tweaks to the code that enforce compliance or sterility. Why the rush to global mandates, the suppression of alternatives? It's as if a hidden hand guides the narrative, steering toward a streamlined humanity, easier to manage in the face of impending cosmic shifts. Peel deeper, and the Anunnaki's influence seeps into technology, where hidden advancements mirror their ancient feats. Whispers from whistleblowers paint pictures of black projects harnessing anti-gravity and free energy, tech supposedly reverse-engineered from crashed relics or unearthed artifacts. These innovations stay locked away, doled out sparingly to maintain dependency on fossil fuels and grids controlled by the same elite circles. Imagine underground facilities buzzing with prototypes, devices that bend space or harvest ether, echoes of the visitors' propulsion systems. Why suppress clean power? Perhaps to keep the masses tethered, preventing a leap that could unravel their grip. Conspiracy lore ties this to gold again, its role in circuitry and shielding, hoarded not just for value but for strategic tech builds, preparing for scenarios where solar flares or cosmic intrusions demand resilient systems. The web tightens around media and information, where narratives are shaped to obscure truths. Elites, through vast conglomerates, are said to curate what we see, burying stories of UFO incursions or genetic anomalies that might expose the lineage. Social platforms, algorithms tuned like fine instruments, amplify divisions fostering tribalism that mirrors the genetic predispositions for conflict. It's a masterful play. Keep humanity fractured, distracted by infighting, while the real game unfolds above. Recent buzz in hidden chats links this to AI surges, suggesting these systems are infused with ancient codes, digital guardians enforcing the old order. What if chatbots and virtual assistants are subtle indoctrinators, steering queries away from forbidden knowledge? Uncover the political arena, where leaders rise with uncanny timing, their policies aligning with agendas that favor concentration of power. Theories posit puppet strings pulled by hybrid descendants, ensuring wars and crises funnel wealth upward, much like ancient tributes to sky gods. Gold reserves swell in times of turmoil, as if preparing for a grand exchange. And the space race? Not exploration, but a scramble to reclaim orbital asset satellites as modern watchtowers, monitoring for the wanderer's return. Elites fund private ventures, launching constellations that blanket the skies, perhaps to intercept signals or mask incoming fleets. This shadow creeps into health crises, where pandemics are framed as tests or thinnings, orchestrated to cull the weak, while elites retreat to bunkers stocked with remedies. Whispers suggest bioweapons laced with modifiers, targeting specific lines to preserve pure ones. Why the global push for digital IDs and tracking? A modern mark, ensuring traceability in a reordered world. Conspiracy echoes tie this to ancient cullings, the flood's modern analogue, where survival favors the prepared or the chosen. The intrigue mounts with environmental plays, climate shifts blamed on humans, but perhaps amplified by hidden tech, herding populations into controllable zones. Geoengineering sprays, silver iodide clouds, seeding rain or veiling skies from prying eyes. Elites, with vast estates in stable climes, seem poised for shifts, their fortunes insulated. Education and culture fall under the veil too, curricula scrubbed of ancient truths, media flooding with distractions to dull curiosity. Symbols in logos and architecture nod to the origins. Eyes atop pyramids on currency, serpents in medical emblems, reminders of the source. As layers unfold, the question lingers: are we unwitting players in their endgame, or awakening to break free? Gold's gleam, Crises' grip, Tech's hush, all point to a shadow that shapes our world, inviting you to peer closer, uncover more. These unveiled plots lead to reflections: what if it's all connected? A grand design nearing its reveal. We've traversed the cosmos, from rogue planets to ancient labs, from towering stones to hidden codes in our blood, chasing the shadow of the Anunnaki and their enigmatic legacy. Now, as the world outside fades to a whisper, let's sit together in this final moment, reflecting on a question that lingers like a half-remembered dream. What if it's all true? What if we are, indeed, the children of star-born creators, shaped for a purpose we're only beginning to grasp? Close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself beneath a vast desert sky, the air cool and crisp, the Milky Way spilling across the heavens like a river of light. Each star feels like a question, a possibility, a fragment of a story that stretches back to the dawn of humanity. The tales we've explored: the Anunnaki's arrival, their genetic tinkering, the cataclysms and monuments, the conspiracies weaving through our world aren't just ancient myths or wild theories. They're mirrors, reflecting our deepest curiosity about who we are, where we came from, and why we're here. What if those clay tablets, etched with wedges, aren't mere stories but records of a cosmic experiment? Imagine humanity as a canvas, painted with the ambition of beings who crossed the void, their brushstrokes still visible in our restless drive to explore, to create, to question. It's a thought that hums with both awe and unease, like standing at the edge of a cliff, peering into an abyss that might just peer back. Consider the weight of it: our DNA, a spiral of code that holds not just biology but history. Those silent stretches, once dismissed as empty, could be archives of a deliberate design switches waiting for a cosmic signal, or safeguards to keep us tethered. The fusion in chromosome 2, the giant's bones, the megaliths aligned with stars, they all point to a narrative where we're not alone, not random, but part of a grander script. If true, it reshapes everything. Religion, once a tapestry of faith, becomes a faded memory of contact, gods recast as visitors with agendas. Our wars, our divisions, our fleeting lives, could they be echoes of engineered limits, keeping us from reaching too high? Yet, there's beauty in this too. Our resilience, our art, our unyielding need to seek truth, all hint at sparks that defied the constraints, gifts slipped into our essence by a rebel hand. Now, let's soften the edges. Whether these tales are truth or imagination, they serve a purpose. They pull us out of the mundane, inviting us to wonder. Picture yourself floating on a quiet lake, the water lapping gently, each ripple a thought dissolving into calm. What if the Anunnaki's return is near, as prophecies whisper? Would it be a reckoning or a reunion, lifting the veil on our origins? Or perhaps it's already happening, in the quiet breakthroughs of science, the strange lights in our skies, the stirrings in our collective soul. You don't need to decide tonight. Let the question linger, a soft glow in the back of your mind, like a candle left burning in a distant room. Feel the tension of the day slipping away, your breath slowing to match the rhythm of the night. The stories we've woven of gold quests, rebellions, floods, and hidden tech are threads in humanity's endless search for meaning. They ask us to look up, to question the stars, to probe the shadows within. If we're engineered, then our curiosity, our defiance, our capacity for love and creation are the truest legacies of those ancient shapers. If we're not, then these tales are still ours, born from our need to make sense of a universe that feels too vast, too silent. As you sink deeper into your chair or bed, let the weight of these mysteries lift like mist. Imagine the desert sky fading, the stars softening into a gentle blur. The Anunnaki, whether real or myth, have carried us through a journey of wonder, and now it's time to rest. Picture their ships, if they exist, gliding silently through the cosmos, their purpose a riddle for another night. Your thoughts are free to drift, unmoored from the need to solve or prove. The world outside can wait its clamor, its questions, its demands all fade into the quiet. Breathe deeply now, each inhale drawing in calm, each exhale releasing the day's burdens. The stories we've told are just one of many humanity has spun to light the dark, to bridge the unknown. They're not here to keep you awake, but to cradle you towards sleep, where your own dreams can weave new tales. What if it's all true? Let that question dissolve, a pebble sinking into still water, ripples fading into peace. Your mind is a vast canvas, and tonight it paints with starlight and silence. As your eyelids grow heavy, feel the gentle pull of rest, like a tide drawing you to shore. The Anunnaki's shadow, if it lingers, watches from afar. But here, in this moment, there's only you, the night, and the soft rhythm of your breath. The universe's mysteries will keep until morning. For now, let the stillness take you, a warm embrace guiding you to slumber. What dreams will unfold, carrying whispers of the stars or secrets of your own? Good night, dear listeners, and sleep well.